Ladies and gentlemen, good morning and welcome back to Morning Quest. We've got quite the morning ahead of us. A little bit lighter on the news side compared to last week, but there's going to be absolutely no shortage of things to talk about today. I see we've got Lance the Master, Hyrule Falcone, and Chris Arista. Our early birds today. What's going on, gentlemen? I'm happy that you're all here. All right, before we get into it, so the lodge has been a little slow this week. I've had a lot of things going on with work and a lot of travel, including this weekend. So things are going to stay a little bit slow until we roll into next week. Also, with it being busy season of my job, you could expect things to pick up at the end of the summer. Hey, what's going on, Luz? Landy, how's it going? Things are going well. Things are going well. We got another beautiful morning above ground. Got to be thankful. Got to be thankful. But like I said, the lodge will continue rolling next week. I've got a Cisne video in the works. The podcast, the one about Lushu, was supposed to happen this past Sunday, but I've got a big crew together for that one, and somebody wasn't able to make it, so we've indefinitely postponed it. But I've got a new Kingdom Hearts podcast in the works. Now, with that being said, let's get into the news of it all. And look, I got a few trailers I want us to touch on today. I want us to watch Visions of Mana trailer, a Fantazio trailer, and a Dragon Ball Sparking Zero trailer. But first, let's get a little bit of news from the fighting game world, starting with Street Fighter 6, which just in the past quarter alone, we got a sales update, has sold 500,000 more copies. And if we look for the numbers here, it would appear as though it has sold now in its first year 3.7 million copies, which is more than Street Fighter V ever did. Again, just in 1 year alone. This is a big deal because it looked like for a minute that Street Fighter was going to start steadily declining on its way out after Street Fighter V. However, just between sales and player reception alone, it seems like Street Fighter 6 has completely revitalized the brand, and they deserve it. Look, I much prefer Tekken's fight style. I still think Soul Calibur rises above all. I'll always find an excuse to bring up Soul Calibur when I can. But even though I prefer Tekken's fighting style, Street Fighter's one-player campaign was awesome. So if you're someone who likes fighting games, but you don't really like playing online, you kind of like the one-player modes, Street Fighter really is a perfect game for you then. I'll say that. But that's the good news from the fighting world. Let's talk about a little bad news. This one coming from Rolling Stone. By the way, all articles can be found in the episode description. Tekken director Katsuhiro Harada won't add Waffle House to the game yet. So for those who may not be in the know, the director of Tekken, a lot of people are recommending that a new level in the game be Waffle House and that the characters fight outside of a Waffle House. He didn't understand why he was continuously getting this request, and then a bunch of people on Twitter started sending him Waffle House fight videos, and then he fell down this rabbit hole of like, what is going on with American culture that people just go to Waffle House at 2 a.m. and fight? So, long story short, they won't be adding Waffle House to the game yet, but it appears as though that is still on the table. And again, Tekken 8 is another one. I mean, look, Tekken 7 was a success through and through, but Tekken 8 seems to be continuing that line of success. And, you know, I'm old enough to remember when Bandai Namco, or rather when they were just Namco, didn't have like a flagship fighting series just yet. Like, they always had fighting games, right? Especially Soul Calibur and Tekken as their two sort of flagship fighting game IPs. But for a long time, there was a sort of tug-of-war between Soul Calibur and Tekken. But it's very clear now Tekken's going to be the flagship fighting game IP for Bandai Namco. And with Tekken 8's success, that's standing to be the case for a very, very long time. Again, I much prefer weapons fighters, but Tekken did it for me, I will say. Zeb, what's going on, man? Says I'm here a bit early for once. How's it going? We are doing good, man. We're just covering some broad news before we get into the trailers. Luz says, was about to ask you about having the one about Lushu. We're still going to do that. I'll tell you right now, it probably won't be until later this month or September. But now, here's an interesting story. Atlas Game Music website officially launched, which is very, very wild. Let's actually see if we can go to it. And let's translate. So it seems as though they're setting up basically a hosting site for their music releases alone, which is cool because I will say Atlas, like Square Enix, their soundtracks are always immaculate. Do I have this on loop? I do. Good. Always immaculate. So this is an interesting thing that they're doing here, and I wonder if over time we'll see more companies follow suit. Okay. Now, let's move on to some trailers I wanted to get into. Let's start with the Metaphor one. I definitely want to talk about Metaphor because this is a game I'm probably going to end up getting on day one. Actually, hold on one second. Let me turn the music off so it doesn't play over the trailer. That would be a nightmare, wouldn't it? Okay. Where are you? You're down here? Perfect. Okay, now let's pull that back up. So this is, in my opinion, the best game that nobody's talking about. In fact, do I have this set up? Can I get you guys a better view? Yes, I can. Okay, yeah, let's watch it this way. This, to me, is absolutely, Metaphor Fantazio is the best game that nobody's talking about. And we'll get to see a little bit of it here. So I'm going to let this roll, and then we'll talk broadly about Metaphor. I have a lot to say. They did a whole, character showcase. I'll throw that on in the background. But I have a lot to say about this game. I haven't seen this trailer yet, so let's tune in and see what we're in for. Turn this up for you guys, too.
Not good! Run for it!
This land of 8 tribes and 3 nations, all blessed by the power.
Interesting. Got ourselves a little world map, some landmass, which I think is cool. I'm excited to see what map exploration is going to be like. I'm going to keep myself from yapping. We'll get back into it.
Power of magic. The United Kingdom of Uchronia. The year
1 second. Let's fix that. 1080p.
is 785. Uchronia is shaken to the core by the sudden death of its king. Anxiety breeds dissent among the tribes. Disparities tear them apart, and no mortal mind remembers the heroic tales upon which their land was built.
So this is interesting too. It makes me wonder if the main character is some kind of refugee from a fallen land. Because they talk about how in the Kingdom of Uchronia, the king has died, and there's going to be some... I think maybe they'll show it in this trailer. They definitely showed it in the showcase that I'll pull up. But there's basically going to be a tournament to decide who the new king is. So I'm interested to see where our character comes from, why they're leaving wherever they're coming from, and why they're going to a land where their king died.
By this story of fantasy, may this faded world be painted anew.
I just want to say, seeing an entire city walled in like this, I want to know why. What are they protecting themselves from?
Whoa, just look!
Whoa.
And one thing, the skies. I've noticed that a lot of the skies and skyboxes in this game are absolutely gorgeous.
might you spare some coin? Bless you. Oh,
Careful!
hurry.
Looks like a broken kingdom to me.
Don't you have any street smarts? Come on, kid. Look, we're not tourists here. We gotta stay focused.
Right.
You noticed back on the wagon? You might be the only elder here, in the whole city even.
So there it is. Very interesting stuff. Let's switch it back. Let's switch it back. And let me pull up the let me pull up that little character trailer. Just throw that on in the background. Perfect. So yeah, this is, I've got to be honest, there aren't many games left on the year that are a day one buy for me, but Metaphor Fantazio absolutely is. Absolutely is a day one buy. So, I will say, I had one big concern about this game. Well, let me turn that down. I did have a concern about this game that has been addressed. Jeez. Are we at 1080? Yeah. One thing that worried me, I was scared that archetypes and personas were essentially going to fall under the same umbrella, fall under the same trope, but I'm delighted to see that in this game that archetypes and personas will be handled differently. So archetypes can evolve. You saw that with personas, but how do you put it? While the persona would evolve, the tarot card, the archetype that you were following, wouldn't. However, in Metaphor Fantazio, it appears as though, not only appears as though, it's been confirmed that based on the social links and the social bonds that you pursue and flesh out in this game, that's going to dictate what the archetypes are. And that your archetypes can change depending on your social bonds and interactions. Now, I totally love that. I don't know how far that goes, right? Is there a predetermined path we all walk where everything evolves the same way? Or will things really, is there going to be like a whole tree of evolution that really, based on the individual choices we make, every little individual choice will dictate between a lot of different evolutions of archetypes? Things like that are kind of what I look forward to seeing fleshed out, because look, Atlus is one of those studios that's really impressed me the last few years. You know, I fell into the Persona series completely by accident. Here's a funny little story. This was years ago. God, this must be 5-6 years ago now. I went to the store to get myself a new phone because I had broken my phone. And with the purchase of this new phone, I got like a $100 gift card to Best Buy. I just gotten this new phone, so all of my consumerist dopamine had been used up. So I gave it to my wife and I told her, you buy something in Best Buy. She goes into Best Buy, she comes out with Persona 5. Neither one of us knew what Persona was. She literally chose it because the cover art was cool. And now we're both in love with the series. So just between the Persona series alone, Atlus as a studio has been absolutely wowing me as of late. Especially with Persona 3 Reload, Persona 5 Royal. I've not gotten into Shin Megami Tensei, but in watching my wife play it, it looks awesome. Very dark and grotesque, which is cool. Different from Persona. But anyway, getting back to Metaphor here, Atlus needs this game to be a third pillar. That's overall what I think the big story of Metaphor is Atlus desperately needs a third pillar. They have Shin Megami Tensei, and then they have Persona, and Persona's obviously their highest flying flag right now. But they're struggling to get that third series in there. They thought they could do it with Soul Hackers. It didn't quite work out. I don't know why I'm wearing this anymore. Trailer's no longer running. Anyway, they tried to do it with Soul Hackers, but it didn't quite work out. Now, I didn't play Soul Hackers, so I can't comment on the quality of the game. But in terms of sales, it didn't kind of reach that echelon that they're definitely hoping Fantazio reaches. But my thing is, you know, Shin Megami Tensei and Persona already have a lot of similarities. They're the two pillars of Atlus, and there's a lot of overlap between the two. So to me, if they're going to make a third pillar work out, it's got to be something like this that looks different, plays different, sounds different, feels different. And again, I'm already seeing a lot of overlap between, this game and the Persona games, but I'm also seeing a lot of different too. Again, you have a little bit of action combat that's been mixed in. Archetypes are seemingly differentiating themselves from Personas, at least from a gameplay perspective, which is good. Kiyosuke Dono says, this is just another Persona game. I suppose it's okay for people that like Persona games. It's from the same studio as Persona, and it appears to be where Persona is very much like modern day slice of life kind of stuff. Metaphor seems to be for people who are fans of high fantasy or the fantasy genre. And that's what I think makes this very interesting, is because Persona and Shin Megami Tensei, they have a very like sci-fi spiritual angle to their game's lore and their world. So seeing Atlus pursue fantasy, which is like rooted at the core of all RPGs, I'm excited for it, because I think high fantasy, I think a lot of creators and a lot of studios are, I don't want to say straying away from it, but let's just say I'm seeing a much less of a balance of sci-fi and fantasy as I used to. Go back to the 90s and you'll see video games, there's a real blend of sci-fi and fantasy. But once you get to the 2000s, things really start to lean into the sci-fi, of it all. I mean, take Final Fantasy, perfect example, right? Look at FF7 Rebirth. That's more sci-fi than it is fantasy. Look at FF8, more sci-fi than it is fantasy. FF9, fantasy. But then again, FF10. Then you have FF12, but then you got 13, 14, 15. 3 in a row that are more leaning on sci-fi than fantasy. So anyway, just getting back to it, it's cool to see this. It's cool to see a return to this, especially with FF16, Fantazio. But there is something quite peculiar about Fantazio that I wanted to get into. I have some mixed feelings about it. It doesn't sway me in either direction, I guess I'll say, but it's something worth considering. Let's pull this up. So check this out. This coming from Games Radar. Atlus's new JRPG Metaphor Fantazio won't include romance, but its bonding system will give you a new experience unlike any you have had in the Persona series. So, look, when I look at the Persona series, there are two things that stand out to me. Rather, what Atlus does. The combat, because I think turn-based combat still deserves a place in modern gaming, and that's something that I love that Atlus is doing, right? Between Persona 5, Persona 3, and seemingly what I've seen from Fantazio, they're doing a good job of showing people like, hey, turn-based combat still has a place in modern gaming. Just because the technology's gotten better doesn't mean turn-based is a thing of the past. Oof, I almost knocked over my water. Turn-based combat wasn't created due to a lack of technological advancement. No, it's a genuine strategic way of playing. 14 is sci-fi. Yeah, here's the thing. When you start 14, it doesn't appear very sci-fi. By the time you get to the end of A Realm Reborn, it starts to feel like that sort of FF7, FF10 vibe where there's a blend. But getting back to, and again, there are lots of areas in 14 that are very fantasy influenced, but the lore and the story right at the end of A Realm Reborn starts to kick up and start moving into a sci-fi sort of direction. I mean, we're on the moon now, for Christ's sake. That was Endwalker. But getting back into this, so again, differentiating itself from Persona, because again, I think the highlights are turn-based combat and the social links. Not focusing on romance makes this interesting, because as much as I do love Persona, I feel like because because most female characters have to have compatibility with romance, it does limit what they can do with the character. Now, limitations are not a bad thing. Creativity thrives on limitations. But limitations are limitations. And if a whole female cast, if their whole character arc and story has to revolve around being compatible for a romantic option, I don't want to say that gets in the way, but it does limit them. So now having a social link system that won't be focused on romance, I'm curious to see what they can do with that and how they'll approach that. But anyway, look, this is exciting. I think this is going to be one of the games of the year. Right now, FF7 Rebirth, still my game of the year. I do believe Tekken 8 deserves to be in that conversation. But as does Stellar Blade. I still have to finish Stellar Blade. I'm at like the very end. I'm at like the very end of Stellar Blade. I gotta finish it. But anyway, I do believe this will be a Game of the Year candidate. I think it's worth looking out for. If you like RPGs, specifically turn-based fantasy RPGs, I really think this is gonna sing the tune we want. Okay. Now, with Fantazio out of the way, let's move on to another trailer. Geez, we're at 25 minutes. Okay. Let's move on to another trailer. Where are you? My beloved Dragonball. Uh-oh. Looks like one of my browsers is a little bit frozen. Is the stream frozen? Am I still here? Can you guys see me? Because my internet is down. My browser is anyway. You guys let me know if you can see me. OBS is still rolling, but are any of my browsers working? Can I get Firefox to work? Maybe I can. It looks like we're still rolling. Okay, I'll have to read from my phone. I disagree. It's like saying Sora and Kairi becoming romantically involved will detract from the theme of Kingdom Hearts. I mean, that's not necessarily what I'm saying, right? That's not necessarily what I'm saying. I'm not saying it's a distraction. I'm not even saying it's a bad thing. I guess all I'm saying is that, look, because they have plans for Sora and Kairi, it limits what they can do. And again, limitations can be a good thing. I'm not trying to be black and white about it. Okay. I got everything up and running again. We'll be fine. We will be fine. Okay. Let's watch this Dragon Ball trailer, which I'm excited for. Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, and I'm glad we started talking about fighting games this morning, because I think this is a game. Yes, you're here. Do you need to reset? We don't need to reset. For some reason, the browsers themselves just weren't working. OBS never stopped running. The chat always kept going, but like the browser windows themselves for some reason froze up on me. But we're all good. We're all good. You're good. Thank you, Zep. Thank you, Zep. This game's going to take over the fighting game community. Like, just for reference, this video came out 2 days ago, and it's at 1 million views. 2 days ago, 1 million views. This is going to absolutely take over the fighting game scene. And I'm excited for it. I've been a Dragon Ball fan my whole life. I've been a fighting game fan pretty much my whole life. I liked Dragon Ball FighterZ. I thought it was great. But I prefer 3D fighters to 2D fighters. So this is singing my tune. Let's let it roll. Let's let it roll. Again, I haven't seen this yet, so I'm watching this for the first time.
You should join this Kakarot. My name isn't Kakarot. It's Goku, got it? You have no idea how out of your league you are. You're going to die, fool. Piccolo, your attack! Do it now! Special beam cannon! Well then, let playtime begin.
Dude, I just want to say the animation is absolutely insane. Like, anime has always, in my opinion, had a problem going 3D. And I saw this with all the Dragon Ball games I've played growing up, rather. Transferring a 2D art style to 3D hasn't always gone smoothly. Hasn't gone poorly, but you can see how an artist's art style gets lost in the transfer from 2D to 3D. For instance, a lot of Kingdom Hearts fans here. Look at Nomura's 2D art and look at everything that gets lost transferring that 2D art into a 3D model. And again, the 3D models look great. I'm not down-talking that. But my point is that a little bit of the artist's touch and style gets lost when transferring from 2D to 3D. What excites me about the way this game looks is, man, I see Toriyama's art style in the 3D models. And it's always been there, don't get me wrong. But you can really see it now. You can, like, again, the game graphics don't sell me. Art style sends me. And seeing the way they're able to capture Toriyama's art style on these 3D models is awesome, man. Awesome. Wanted to ask Lanny, do you think we could see Kingdom Hearts 4 at D23 next week? I would not count on it. I would not count on it. You're going to see Missing Link before you see Kingdom Hearts 4. I don't think we see it at D23. Honestly, I think when they eventually drop Missing Link, it's just going to be a shadow drop. And I think for Kingdom Hearts 4, it's the Game Awards the earliest. That's my opinion. But let's keep this going.
I think you're the first to die. How's it feel seeing your little friend's corpses scattered all over? Hey, you bastard! Even though I'm in a bit of a bind, this is always what gets me pumped. Don't fail.
100% to the art style thing, right, Zeb? That's what I'm saying. And that's what excites me. Like, again, for instance, a lot of Kingdom Hearts fans here. The Kingdom Hearts 3D models look fantastic. But what excites me is the more time goes on, the more those models are going to be able to actually capture Nomura's art style. Look at that 20th anniversary poster he made, that 20th anniversary artwork. Can you imagine if the character models looked closer to that? My lord, that's one of the things that's super exciting about this game.
Challenging me? Don't you feel silly? Leave it to me.
Don't make me laugh.
This is
Wait. Kui is in the game? Kui? How big is this roster? Kui?
Simple tricks.
Go ahead. Underestimate me at your own peril.
We shouldn't be breathing the same air.
Huh? You met the beauty, but now I introduce you to the beast. Fair warning, when I'm like this, I can't help but kill.
I also want to say, the older I get, the more I think the Namek saga is the best saga in all of Dragon Ball. All of Dragon Ball. I could go on about it. I was always a Cell Saga supremacist, but the older I get, the more I'm realizing it doesn't get better than Namek.
The Saiyans are a true warrior race. Don't underestimate us. I will resist. So
Nail!
You'll never defeat
Yes!
me with such paltry power. Even I can beat a monkey.
it's our turn now, Vegeta. I like that body of yours. Change now. Whoa! Do your worst. But if you think this is going to be easy, then you're dead wrong.
With each transformation, I become far more fearsome than before. Oh, well, excuse me.
Oh, so brutal, dude.
And behold, the second transformation of the mighty Frieza.
I have no intention of allowing even a single Saiyan to live.
Okay, it's finally
But I have to wonder, is that all just one Frieza with the different transformations, or is each transformation a fighter? For real, someone posted it on YouTube as a feature film type thing, and boy, let me tell you, that's really like a horror movie. So many tricks and schemes and great battles. Oh, the Namek saga, yeah, I watched that same video. That's what I mean. The way the plot is unfolding, again, I love the Cell saga. I really do. I could sing its praises to the end, but man, the characters have to act like borderline morons in order for the Cell saga to commence. The Z Fighters make so many stupid mistakes, it almost makes you angry. But in the Namek saga, There's a whole 4D chess thing going on. Pieces are being moved around. They're being forced to team up with Vegeta. It's in Vegeta's best interest to work with Gohan and Krillin. They're forced to team up. Like, there's all these moving parts in the Namek Saga, and no one's being a moron. Everyone's being tactical. Everyone's playing it smart. Meanwhile, in the Cell Saga, people just make stupid decisions, man. Stupid decisions. And time travel wasn't one of them. DBZ, I thought, did time travel great. That's one of the parts of the Cell Saga that actually makes perfect sense. But anyway, let's get. How does this game play? So it's a 3D fighter. I want to get my hands on it because I'll say this: if this game plays as well as it looks, I'm telling you, it will take over. It will take over the fighting game community.
You ruthless, heartless bastard!
Best moment in the whole anime, by the way.
Now I'm mad, Frieza!
You wanted me at my strongest, so here I am.
So good.
Die in disgrace at the hands of your
Oh, man. Man. Give it to me now. Give it to me now. Absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. I think I really, again, I liked Dragon Ball Fighter Z, but I'm a 3D fighter. I'm a 3D fighter. I like having a full 3D arena. This looks remarkable. Absolutely remarkable. And the roster is supposed to be insane, dude. Insane. But we got one more trailer and a couple more articles before we wrap up today. Again, I could sing Dragon Ball's praises all day. I'm excited for Sparking Zero. I think it's going to be... Look, I've sang its praises enough. Goku chucking at Cell a Sensu bean is awful, says Josh C. You know what's crazy, Josh? You know what's crazy is you're 100% right. Awful. But it's not even the dumbest thing anybody did. It's not even the dumbest thing anybody did. Vegeta takes the cake on that one. All right, and I love Vegeta. He's my favorite character. Let's watch this Visions of Mana trailer, which is like the demo launch trailer. Let's check it out.
We have to protect the future by journeying to the mana tree.
Oh, what? Why? Oh, okay. I was like, what are you doing? Oh my God! Hold on. Those landscapes are beautiful. And this is a prime example. We talk about it on the channel a lot, right? Art style is more important than graphics. This could have been on the Wii U. Look at it. It could have been on the Wii U. But that doesn't matter. The art style's stunning. That's a beautiful landscape. I'm not sold on this game, but that's awesome. Krillin not destroying 18 and 18 not running away. 18 not running away. Come on. Krillin, we could have wished her back with the Dragon Balls, dude. Like, it's not that hard. We've done this before. All right?
Hold on tight, Hina.
That is so cool. Okay.
Let this be a warning.
Oh.
If you value your lives, go no further.
Even a novice could do this better than you. I'll show you how it's really done.
That's a fist. It's my
Interesting.
duty to protect the alms from harm. Let's go.
We can still make a break for it, you know. Just say the word.
Here's a quirky looking adventure, man.
I'll see you safely wherever you need to go.
down, Hina.
I'm not gonna lie. I was a little underwhelmed by that. I'm more interested in Trials of Mana, honestly. I don't know why, man. Just like those character designs don't do it for me. The landscapes are beautiful. The art style is beautiful. Character designs don't really do it for me. The combat looks action-based, but I didn't really get to see a whole lot of how it works, how it's handled. There is a demo. Maybe I'll give the demo a shot. We'll see. We shall see. You know, the other thing, while I'm pulling the other stuff up, the other thing I want to discuss, going back to Metaphor Fantazio for a moment, because the thing I'll say about Atlas games is their map exploration is very basic. And that's fine. It's not why I go to Persona games. I don't go to Persona games for a world map or for a bunch of dungeon crawls, or for exploration. It's not what I go to a Persona game for. Especially because when you think about it, all that stuff is very streamlined. You have the city and town locations you could visit, and you don't travel to them. You fast travel to them. You pick them on a map, right? And the thing with Fantazio, when they showed you that whole world map, is if you want to make a fantasy RPG, it's probably going to need to be a little bit of exploring. And I wonder how that's going to play. I wonder how that's going to handle. But anyway, let's get back into it here. Speaking of Persona, I have this article here. Persona 5 is getting an official Design Works book, and it's massive. A 544-page hardcover art book. Can you believe that? Can you believe that? Honestly, $70 for 500 pages is a pretty good deal. $70 is not chump change, but 500 pages of art? My lord. I may have to take that plunge. Atlas is cooking, man. Atlas, above all, is cooking. But again, I think that's my biggest remaining question for Fantazio is it, how's the exploration going to feel? Now, I've seen sort of an open map gameplay where if the enemy's weak enough, you could fight them with action combat. But if they're strong enough, you have to engage in turn-based combat. I think that's awesome. I think that can make for a very addicting gameplay loop. And just seeing it on the showcases they've put out and how smooth the transition is from battle to overworld. I mean, Atlas has always been the king of UI, but they're stepping it up even more. That would be my biggest question for Fantazio. But it's the game I'm excited for most remaining this year. Now, before we wrap up today, I did hear my puppy Kobe whimpering a little bit on the other side of the door. We're going to let him in before we wrap up today. Hey, buddy. What's the matter? What's the matter? Don't worry. Don't worry, buddy. We're finishing up. Yes, buddy. Come here. Say hello to all the folks. Yes. Good morning. Say good morning, everybody. Well, everyone, that's going to be the end of Morning Quest number 2. And it's been great. Have a happy Friday. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Appreciate you hanging out with me this morning before I got to start work. You all be good out there, all right? Be good. Right, Kobe? Yes. I'll take you. I know where you want to go. I'll take you. I gotta end the episode, buddy, okay? All right, guys. Thanks for hanging out. We'll see you on the next one. Happy Friday. And, plenty more coming down from the lodge. Got a Sisney video coming. New Kingdom Hearts video coming. New Kingdom Hearts podcast coming. Just be on the lookout. All right, everybody. See you on the next one.